On today's episode, our guest is Prachi. She is the head of product at Commure where she leads product management across a wide range of areas. She's gotten to work on 0 to 1 development for most of the products she's touched, from revenue cycle management to Strongline, Scribe, forward deployed engineering, and the patient experience platform. She's always been passionate about merging healthcare and technology. Before Commure, she founded a startup that used virtual reality to help neurosurgeons plan brain surgeries and later joined Verily and Google Health as a software engineer before transitioning into product management. She's excited about turning Commure into a company with hundreds of products that work seamlessly together to make a true difference in healthcare. Well, Prachi, appreciate the time today and welcome to the podcast. Super excited about all the things that you've done today and super excited to chat with you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I just learned this, but you started by founding a company in the VR space to help brain surgeons or surgeons do brain surgery.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Was healthcare always the plan forward? Like the coming out of school, was that the where you wanted to head into?
Yes, for sure. I think I studied biomedical engineering. I studied computer science. I've always been interested in merging healthcare and technology and trying to create products that work in this world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then you went on to work at Google and Verily.
Yes.
I imagine very different than the startup.
Totally different.
How did that sort of shape how you think about building products in the healthcare space?
Yeah, Verily and Google really changed the way that I thought about it. I had a great time there. I think the major learning that I had at Verily was really about thinking big.
Yeah.
At Verily, they didn't take small swings. They only took big swings. So an example of that is Project Debug, where they released sterile mosquitoes in areas that had mosquito-driven diseases.
Yeah.
And because mosquitoes only mate once, there were no offspring produced when the sterile mosquitoes mated. And that led to a decrease in mosquito population, which led to a decrease
That's fascinating.
in the diseases.
That's pretty cool.
I thought that was awesome.
Yeah.
And I would always encourage everybody to think big. Now that I have seen so much at Verily and so much of my startups, there's no point in building incremental changes. And working so hard just to have, a small little change in healthcare. I think we're ripe for a very large revolution now, and I think everybody should take big swings.
Yeah, how do you think about that in terms of Commure and Verily, right? We have fast iterations. We do a ton of experimentation, and so thinking big might be contradictory to working really fast and shipping products. How do you sort of blend the two at Commure and Verily?
I think at Commure and Verily, we do think big, and we do have certain areas where we try and innovate and try and figure out what is the next big thing. So, for example, we have a special projects division, and in that division, we are trying out how to very quickly build a completely new product that has never existed in the industry before.
Yeah.
And then we also have certain products that are, your medical scribe that hits industry parity and then tries to skyrocket from there.
Yeah.
So we do have sort of a mix of all the different types of products.
Yeah. How many products do you manage today at Commure? I think it's like
There's 8 products now.
8 to 10.
Yeah.
How do you think about that at scale, right? As we think about large or small to mid-sized practices, as well as large enterprise healthcare systems, I imagine from a product perspective, many different opportunities. We have 8, and so how do you sort of think about the products that we're building today and the products that we're building tomorrow in the future?
Yeah, I mean, instead of 8, I want 100. Like, I want so many different products at Commure. And I want them all to integrate. I want them all to sort of enhance the other. And I want a health system to be, fully powered by Commure long term. The reason why we are able to have at least 8 products now, when many startups only have 1, the reason why is because we have such a large and strong team. If you look at the leaders of every single product team, they are so strong. They are committed. They are driven. They're passionate.
Yeah.
They care about making customer happy. There would be no Commure without such a strong team of leaders.
Of the 8 products, do you have a favorite one?
RCM is awesome. I think it's a huge responsibility to have the ability to run revenue cycle and manage an entire health system or hospital's finances. Yeah. It's a huge responsibility there. And I also love Scribe. I mean, you get so many great reviews from doctors saying that you let them go home and have dinner with their kids and save 2-3 hours a day. So every product I think here is so important and so useful for health systems.
Do you feel like providers today are open to adoption of new products and new features and just new ways of thinking about, providing patient care as a whole?
I think they are more open than ever before. Yeah, I think right now people are more tech savvy. People are quite burnt out, and they're looking for something to come in and help change the way that work is done in health systems today. So I think we are at a place where doctors are more open than ever, and it's the right time to build in healthcare.
Yeah, you do a lot of sort of 0 to 1 in the product space, especially for Commure.
Yeah.
How do you go about thinking about which products that you should invest in and that you should prioritize versus some other ones that we should descope for later?
Yeah. I think we really have a good eye on the industry and what's happening in the healthcare space, but at the same time, we also have an eye on what's happening in the tech space. Yeah. So as soon as, for example, Operator came out from GPT, we, have this culture where the next day there were 50 to 60 demos from all these engineers that would just quickly use Operator and quickly try and fix one problem in healthcare. And so I think, having the ability to have such fast innovation and very quickly experiment really helps us figure out what to build next and, what to invest our 0 to 1 efforts in.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of excitement in regards to overall product development and getting providers and these healthcare systems on board. I imagine on the other side, there's also lots of challenges, especially in your world, right? Where typically with healthcare systems, it might be, outdated methodologies or thinking. And so trying to change that to, some of our more modern approaches. What would you say are some of the challenges in your world today when you think about building products for healthcare in general?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is going through the regulatory system and making sure that everything is compliant, everything is secure, and everything is acceptable by the IT teams at the health systems. And so one strategy that we use here at Commure now, which I think is working really well, is we've separated our security and sort of platform team out from our product team. And so we have one team focused specifically on these problems, which is making sure that every system is secure, every system is HIPAA compliant, we have SOC 2 compliance, we can pass all the security reviews from health systems. And so I think sort of making sure that there's focus and attention on that part of the problem, I think really made a big difference at Commure.
Awesome. So I know we have this sort of forward deployed movement where, folks are on the ground. They get direct feedback from, providers, admins, nurses, front desk. When we think about, you talk about how you want like hundreds of products, not just 8.
Yeah.
How do you think about sort of prioritizing what to build that's going to provide the most ROI for these healthcare systems?
Yeah, I think the easiest answer there is that you listen to doctors. So we actually go on site. We sometimes sit on site for months at a time with a small team of engineers and product managers, and we really figure out what the biggest issues are. We shadow in the morning, build at night, shadow in the morning and test it out, build at night, and keep iterating like that until we get to a place where the doctors are truly happy with the solution. And because we're building hand in hand with them, we know that the solution is going to work and it's going to be useful and it's going to be utilized. But then what we can also do is once we build it with one health system, we can go ahead and kind of share it with other health systems and see if it's a problem that they have and if it would be a solution that they would want to buy as well.
Yeah. Do you foresee some of these products being a more holistic approach, or because we have 8 different product lines, and so when we think about just the magnitude of all the different features and products that we have for these large healthcare systems, Do you feel like there's products that are sort of intertwined at some point in the future where it's all in one
Absolutely.
instead of just separate?
Absolutely. I think bundling is one of the most important pieces of the way that we sell our products and the way that we build our products.
Yeah.
So, for example, if you look at our ambient scribing solution, it pairs very well with revenue cycle. So, during revenue cycle, for example, you might get a bunch of denials and you might get some feedback from the payer saying, hey, you did XYZ wrong.
Yeah.
Instead of solving that after the fact, after the claim has been submitted, what we can now do with our ambient product is surface those issues right then and there and tell the provider, guide the provider on how to write the note in a better way to make sure that it doesn't get denied down the line. So every single one of these products are going to be quite integrated long term. And the other thing is that health systems do want that. They don't want to have multiple different point solutions and management of multiple different vendors.
Yeah.
They want one or a few vendors that can do a wide array of things and then have the ability to kind of just work with them and then make sure that all their products and all their workflows are fully integrated.
Yeah. What's your overall vision for the product team?
The product team. I am very excited to lead the product team. I think we have a couple of core values. One is to have excellent execution and really high standards. I really urge the team to have a higher bar than their customers, than other peers at the company, than other competitors. The higher the bar, the better your execution will be and the better the product will be.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would say we value extreme ownership. So if you look at each of the PMs, they're essentially a startup leader within the company. Someone who leads the Scribe product is essentially leading an entire company almost within Commure. And so we say, just go for it, do what it takes, don't ask for permission, just go for it. And then lastly, I would say have extreme expertise in technically and then also in your customer, and that will make sure that we build the best products out there.
Yeah.
And so with these values, I think my vision long term is all I have to do is kind of teach these values and teach a couple of core skills to the team. And, from there, they should have what's needed to build anything in healthcare. Have enough expertise, have enough sort of information from the customer, have a high enough bar, and then from there they could basically go kill it on any net new product that they need to build.
Yeah. So I know your team embodies those cultural values.
Yeah.
Has there been any differences given your experience at like big companies like, Google Health and Verily versus a startup, especially in the early days of Commure?
Yeah, I think the main difference is the speed. I think against this sort of how slow these health systems run and sort of the bureaucracy that's there, the one competitive advantage that Commure has is the speed.
Yeah.
And a lot of other companies are not able to iterate at this pace. And because of the speed, it almost enables sort of a white glove service-oriented engineering team where health systems that we work with, they ask us for something and 2 days later that button shows up on their app.
Yeah.
And they're shocked. They're like, I didn't know this was possible. I didn't know this was a thing. Yeah. And they get very excited and that builds trust. And then from there, they tell us more, we learn more, we iterate more, and it just builds better and better products.
Yeah. How do you think that continues to scale as your product team starts to grow and you have more products that you want to build as a company?
Yeah, I think it is scalable with the number of people, obviously, but also with everybody taking on quite a bit of ownership. Yeah. I would imagine, there'd be somebody that can sort of lead the entire provider experience, someone that will lead the entire patient experience, someone that will lead the entire financial infrastructure. Yeah. And so like that, Commure is going to scale more and more. And the PMs that are right now leading just, for example, medical documentation, they are now going to lead all tools that a provider needs, including automating their phone calls, then automating their referrals, and automating anything that they do essentially that is outside of giving patient care. And that way they can focus fully on giving patient care.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, any last sort of piece of advice when you think about individuals that want to build for really cool companies or a different domain space? I know you've been focusing all in the healthcare space, but any piece of advice for someone that's thinking about sort of product management or thinking about building products and what they should do to get into sort of a exciting place like you have?
Yeah, I think one of the best things you can do is just start. I think that's the hardest thing for me as well. When I was trying to start a company or trying to start a second company, starting was very hard. But once you do start, all you have to do is just learn, iterate, learn, iterate, learn, iterate. And once you do that, you'll be able to build something that actually hits at some point. But until you start, there's no future there. And so I would say, it's also not too hard to start with something small, read a book, talk to one user, write down an idea. It could be very, very simple, but I think starting is the most important thing.
Awesome. Well, Prachi, I appreciate the time. Excited about all the different products that you're building at Commure, and excited for you to hit 100 plus products at some point in the future.
Yeah, excited for us to hit 100 plus products. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.